Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to the Rideshare Hub. My name is Dylan. Thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. Again, my name's Dylan and this is the place for Uber and Lyft drivers to learn how to be better drivers. And today we're gonna be talking about 20 false reports that Uber and Lyft riders leave to basically get a free ride. And unfortunately, the only way that they can do that is by leaving a false report, rating the passenger 1 star, and trying to get a free ride. So if you guys haven't heard, a lot of drivers, maybe you're a new driver or maybe you don't know too much about rideshare, but a lot of drivers do get falsely deactivated over false reports. I have a YouTube friend whose name is Dustin is Driving, who he said that he got deactivated from Lyft because a passenger lied and said he was drunk driving. And he said he had done tons of rides that day, not drinking at all. So this stuff is real, it's happening. If you guys haven't heard, Rideshare Rev, another smaller rideshare YouTube channel, he also got deactivated from Uber for doing, well, he claims it was also a false report. So in today's video, guys, I'm gonna be talking about 20 false reports that Uber and Lyft drivers get from riders. So without further ado, let's hop right into it, okay? The first one is that sometimes riders will say that the car is broken. Something's wrong with the car. They'll say, oh, there was a cracked windshield, or there was a dent in the car, or the car was broken, or maybe the brakes were all squeaky, like maybe it was all stalling out or whatever. The passengers will lie and say that the car was broken. And a way to combat this is to take photos of your car to respond to that claim. So I'm also going to tell you guys ways to mitigate these situations, these false claims. Okay. The second one is that, and also by the way, guys, pretty much every single one of these I have heard people actually happening to them. But in the second one is that someone says that a rider will say that the driver somebody else was using the app, right? So somebody else, it wasn't the right driver. Maybe they'll say, oh, my driver's name was Jim, but it was a woman. And so they'll say that. I mean, there was a lot of these things riders will just lie to try to get a free ride. So that's another one. And yes, I have heard that happen as well. Number 3, they'll say that the driver was unprofessional. A lot of these things, these are prompt answers that Uber just gives the rider to click on, and a lot of times they'll just click on whichever one whatever one they'll think will give them a free ride. Driver was unprofessional. That is an option on the Uber app or on the Lyft app. I can't remember which one, but whatever that means. I don't know, maybe maybe they're saying the driver's wearing sweatpants and a tank top, right? Which I've driven rideshare in sweatpants and a tank top before, but whatever, they'll say something like that, and that will translate to the driver was unprofessional. Okay. The fourth one is that another option is a service animal issue, and this happens a lot because there's a huge, well, it's pretty black and white, but a lot of riders, they'll have emotional support dogs, which are not service animals. They're not, yes, mental health is no joke, but in order to have a service animal, your dog needs to be trained and qualified, certified as a certified service animal. Usually, I'm talking about people who are blind, people who need help seeing or guiding them, like a guide dog, a service animal to help with a certain disability. But a lot of people who have dogs, maybe emotional support dogs or just normal dogs, they'll try to get in, and the driver will say, oh no, sorry, I have allergies or whatever. And all they'll say, is that a service animal? They'll be like, yeah, it is. They're just trying to lie, and like, obviously it's not. And the rider will just lie and say it is a service animal, and Uber Lyft won't verify it. They'll just rate the driver 1 star, and that'll be a false report. Okay, the next one is number 5, issue with pickup. Maybe the rider will say that the driver couldn't get to my destination, or the driver, I don't know, didn't wait for me long enough, or whatever. They'll say another option is issue with pickup. So an easy way to combat this is just go directly to the pickup location, not the pin. So on Uber and Lyft's end, it looks like you went to the pickup location, not the pin. And then just wait, call You know, wait your 5 minutes if you need to and then leave, or just pick them up. And try to call them too. Like, if they're on the other side of the road, you don't want to just like drive past them and turn around to get on their side. Like, you probably want to call them and tell them, hey, I'm turning around, so they don't think you're like driving away from them. Because I've had that happen to me before too. Or one time I was driving around a cul-de-sac and a guy was like, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm like, dude, I'm literally turning around for you. Like, relax, okay? The next one is, the driver made me feel unsafe. Maybe they'll lie and say the driver had a weapon on them. I don't know, whatever that might be, you know, use your imagination. The driver made me feel unsafe. Number 7, smelly car. Trust me, I've gotten in plenty of Uber and Lyft cars where the driver keeps their car super smelly, whether that's just tons and tons of car fresheners, tons of really strong candles. I don't know, maybe usually it's like their car's just filthy dirty and it just smells, stinks. A lot of times it's like the driver has BO, body odor, because, you know, a lot of drivers just drive 10 hours a day, don't ever shower or anything. But regardless, a lot of passengers will just lie about that and say their car's smelly when maybe it smelled just fine. Number 8, so that's why you don't want to use car fresheners. You want to use like odor eliminators instead. Number 8 is driver tried to sell me something. Yes, you can have like, I mean, it's kind of a gray area, but yeah, you can have business cards. Obviously, you can have cargo, but like, if the driver is like saying, hey, sign up for my multi-level marketing company, you just need to pay $99. Come on, sign up, sign up. Like, the rider will complain about that. So a rider could also lie about that when you're not doing it. Maybe you have business cards out, right? And I mean, I always tell my passengers that I have a YouTube channel about Uber and Lyft, and they're like, no way. You want to check it out, right? But like, I'm not overly pushy about it, but maybe if I mention it, a rider could be like, he was, you know, forcing me to sign up for his YouTube channel, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the next one is, they'll say that it's not the right car. You know, you have a car registered as a driver, and a rider could easily lie and just be like, oh, it said a Toyota Prius, but I got picked up by a Ford Explorer. People lie, okay? That's another lie. It's happened, okay? The next, number 10, someone else is in the car with the driver. People actually do this. You might be surprised. When I went to my onboarding meeting with Lyft, one of the people said, hey, can I bring my friend with me? They're like, haha, no, you definitely can't. A lot of people do it anyway. They'll, you know, especially people with like XLs. You know, they have like 8 seats in the car. They'll just bring their friend with them and be like, oh, well, you know, I don't get 8 people anyway, 7 people anyway, so. And usually they're fine. Or if they get too many passengers they don't have room for, they'll just cancel it, so. But this is another thing that riders will just lie about. Really, there's no way of verifying whether or not it's true or not. Okay, the next one is, rider will lie about the destination. So this is probably one of the most common ones. This is like pretty much just a straight up scam, but I mean, these are all scams, right? Because they're just trying to get a free ride. They're scamming the driver and Uber and Lyft. So a really common one is that riders will say, hey, well, they'll put the destination like in and out, right? And then as they get picked up, they say, oh, you know what? Can you take me to the in and out? It's closer. It's on the other side of town. And as a driver, you might be like, oh, sure. But when you complete that ride and you drop them off, that's not the destination, right? So Uber and Lyft will pretty much looks like you got lost and you just drop them off in a random place. So, and a lot of times riders will actually report that ride and be like, hey, my driver got lost and I just told him to get out. Can I have my refund? And Uber and Lyft, you know, that's a false report, okay? Number 12, an alternate route. A lot of times, like for me, if I need to go up north, like I live right on the coast, like I literally live right by the beach. Like I can't show you guys because whatever. Well, yeah, whatever. You just have to trust me. I live right by the beach. And sometimes I want to go like, it's probably like a 45, sometimes even an hour up north just on the coast. Because there's a lot of parties and stuff and it's really fun over there. But a really faster way to go is the freeway and it goes around. And so when I order a ride there, theoretically, I actually have never ordered a ride there. But if I theoretically order a ride there, well, I have driven people there, so I do know. But as a passenger, if I order a ride there, it will automatically, the GPS will say to take the freeway, right? Because it's 20 minutes quicker. But a lot of times, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a rider said, oh, can you take the coast instead? You know, it's way prettier and, you know, whatever. And when you do that, guys, it really looks like you either got lost or, you know, it looks like the driver got lost or just didn't know where they were going, or pretty much you could say, even say like kidnapped the passenger. The rider will be like, hey, my driver got lost. He wouldn't take me the right way. I wanted to go I mean, the passenger could easily tell the driver to go a certain way, and then in the app they can be like, oh, he made me go that way and it took me way much longer. You guys know what I'm saying. You want to follow the GPS as much as you can. You know, if you want to take like a, I don't know, a normal freeway instead of whatever, a toll road, that's totally fine. Okay, the next one is, this is crazy, but a rider will oftentimes spill some, well, maybe not often, this is pretty rare, but they'll spill something in the back seat, probably crumbs, or they'll put like cigarettes in the back seat, take a picture, they'll bring it like with them, they'll like, yeah, maybe cigarettes is a good example, right? Because it's smoky, it's not illegal, but it's also really not like, you know, you don't want your car smelling like smoke. So what they'll do is they'll throw a cigarette on the ground, take a photo of it, put it right back, and then when the ride's over, they'll say, hey, my driver had cigarettes all in the car, it smelled like smoke, I have asthma, you know, I was coughing the whole time, blah, blah. They'll make up a huge whole story, completely fabricated, just to get a free ride. That one's messed up, but people also do that with like crumbs, dirt, sand. A lot of times people will even come from the beach and bring sand in the car, and then they'll report it and say it was there before. So they don't get reported. You guys know what I'm saying. People are smart, they're scammy. The next one is, the rider will say that the driver was speeding. This is like potentially not even a false report, but a lot of people will stretch the truth about this. As you guys know, as drivers, especially if you're driving a city, or actually even on highways, like, sure, here the speed limit is 65, right? If you're going 65 though, you're like, people honk at you. Like, you need to go at least 73 and in the slow lanes. Like, people go 80 in the fast lanes. And that's just the flow of traffic. So like, sure, you could be going 75 just following the flow of traffic, like that's totally normal. You pretty much have to go 75 in order to, I don't really know how that works, but whatever. Like, let's say you're going 70, 73, okay? That's 8 miles per hour over the speed limit. A rider could easily say that, oh, my driver was speeding like crazy, but really just following the flow of traffic. Like, there's a lot of gray area. Even if the driver's not speeding, the passenger could easily say, my driver was speeding. Why? Because nothing is tracked. There's no, like, you know, actually they do have that information in the app, so I guess they can't verify that. But you guys see what I'm saying. People will stretch the truth on the speeding part. Number 15, rider will say that the driver is being creepy. So I've actually experienced this myself as a rider and as a driver from passengers, but well, no, we're just talking about drivers right now. But you guys have seen Liz, maybe you haven't, but Liz came on this channel. She's my friend from UC Berkeley. We went to school together. And she came on, and I actually didn't know this story before she came on the channel, because I wanted, you know, she's very articulate, she's a very smart girl, and I wanted to have her on the channel to share her thoughts, right? Which I'm probably gonna have more guests on soon. But anyways, she came on and she said that one time she was getting dropped off at home, and she, you know, she was having a great ride, great, you know, normal ride, whatever, and talking a little bit. She always sits up in the front seat, you know, she's very pretty, like, I don't think drivers will really mind. So she sits up in the front seat, has a good conversation with them, and then at the end of the ride, as like she's walking into her house, the driver got out of his car and said, hey, you know, I usually don't do this, but can I have your phone number? And that's being creepy, right? A lot of times riders will just lie. I mean, that's a legitimate case. I would not blame Liz at all if she reported that driver. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the driver was totally out of line. But a lot of times, riders will just lie and say that the driver was being creepy. You know, there's no way, there's no cameras inside. Like, maybe the driver even does have a dash cam, but Uber's not gonna review the footage on that, you know? Maybe once in a blue moon they will, but whatever, okay? Maybe if it's like a sexual assault, like if they claim it's like a sexual assault, then yeah, they might review the footage, because, you know, that's a whole legal issue at that point. But okay, the next one is they'll say that the driver is being sexually suggestive. You guys have seen this time and time again. a lot of times riders will say, oh, my driver was hitting on me, my driver was flirting with me. Being creepy and flirty, sexually suggestive, it's kind of the same one, but I wanted to make it separate because riders will just, I mean, it's totally different. Like, rider, it's basically, this is like serious stuff. This could have legal issues involved. If a rider said, oh my gosh, my driver touched me, or oh, like, that's, your risk, that driver's probably going to get automatically deactivated. They're going to look into it. That could even be a police report, like, and you know, usually there's no cameras in the cars unless the driver has a dash cam, which, you know, it's important to have a dash cam too. But you guys see what I'm saying? That's another false report that a lot of people will leave. And I also just want to, you know, disclaimer is that if this does happen to you, I'm not downplaying that. Like, please get help, seek help, like, file a police report if you have to. Don't be afraid to do that. You know, talk to a counselor or whatever if you, but I'm just saying these are some false things that people do because they are abusing it and they know how serious it can be, and they know right away that they'll probably will get a free ride if they just lie about it. All right, the next one is that the rider will say that the driver is talking about religion or politics. We already talked about the sex one, but if their driver is talking about religion or politics, I've actually had this experience as a rider before. I was actually making a video for YouTube and I didn't film it because, yeah, it was, actually I did try to film it, but I asked the driver if I could film it, my conversation with him, and he said no, and I was like, okay, no big deal. Basically, what I did was I had to go to the grocery store, I think, anyway. Yeah, I had to go to the grocery store to do some shopping, right? So I was like, you know what, let me make a video. So I took a Lime scooter, one of those Lime scooter things, and I took it to the grocery store, and then I took an Uber back, and then I wanted to compare which one was cheaper, which one was faster, etc., etc. So I took a Lime there, you know, cool, whatever. Then I took an Uber back, and on my way back, my driver was like, I was like, so why'd you start driving? You know, at first I asked him, hey, I'm doing a video, do you mind if I record our ride, our conversation? He said no, and I said, no big deal. I literally put the camera right away. I said, hey, I understand security, privacy, that's a huge issue. I don't want to record you without your permission. No big deal. Literally, no, don't worry about it. He was like apologizing. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. It's fine, totally fine. And then we started talking a little bit, and I'm like, so why'd you start driving? He was like, God made me drive. God made me sign up for Uber. He told me to sign up, and I'm like, interesting. Like, I don't know how he told you that, but cool. Like, I don't know why he told you to be an Uber driver, but all right, fair enough. So he starts talking, and then all of a sudden he starts getting angry, like starts getting really riled up. Like, you've seen pastors. He was like he sounded like one of those pastors on stage, like yelling at people about how they need to believe in God. And not in a good way either. Usually at church, like, people agree with him, so whatever, it's fine. But like, he asked me, do you believe in Jesus? And I said, no, I do not, right? I don't believe in God, okay? Whatever, fair enough. Well, you know, I don't believe, you know, I'm not religious, okay? And he was like, oh my God, you're gonna go to hell, you're gonna, you know, the evil in the world exists because of people like you. And I was like, are you serious? Like, this is how you talk to people who don't believe in your religion? Like, I was like, you wonder why people don't believe in your religion, because this is how people come off, as like, you are better than me just because of your belief. Whatever. He started yelling at me, tell him I'm gonna go to hell, blah, blah, blah. I sure as heck rated that driver 1 star because I didn't want to ever be paired with him again, and I thought he was gonna hurt me. He's screaming at me in the middle of the ride, and yes, I was in the front seat because I was gonna, you know, ask him to film, or if we could film our conversation, so I was in the front so it'd be easier to record. And I was pretty much stuck in the front seat, and I tried to ask him, hey, can you pull over? But he wouldn't stop yelling at me, so I was like, all right, fine, just take me, because, you know, it was only a couple more minutes, so he took me there. Okay, that's a long story, but basically these things do happen. So like, I could see a rider maybe having something like that, and they will stretch the truth. I mean, that was a legitimate case. That driver he had a really, really low rating. He was like, I think it was 4.8, I think that's like the lowest you can go, right? I don't know, but whatever. So yeah, that happened. But yeah, riders will lie about that. Religion or politics too. You know, politics is a big one. Don't talk about Trump. Just don't talk about Trump. A lot of people don't like him. The next one, Number 18 is too many false reports. So this is another false report. Well, this isn't really a false report that riders leave, but I just wanted to include this because a lot of these things are like really minor things, right? Like, oh, the driver smelled, right? Or the rider smelled. The ride smelled. You probably won't get deactivated for that, but if you get like 10 of those, you probably will get deactivated. So that's why I want to include that one. The next one is too many false bad ratings. Again, the same thing. When riders leave false reports, they tend to leave you a 1 star, right? So it looks like, oh, I hated my ride, I hated my driver, I hated the car, blah, 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 1 star and complain. I'll try to get a free ride out of it or free ride credit. If you get too many false ratings, if you fall below, I don't know, 4.6, I don't know what the threshold is, but if you get too many bad ratings, you will get deactivated. Number 20 is, this one is horrible, but a lot of times riders will leave something in the car, they'll leave their phone in the car, they'll leave an umbrella, whatever. Sometimes they'll leave a laptop, right? If they leave a laptop, it's kind of hard to get in contact with the driver for whatever reason. Well, it's a big privacy thing. It's like drivers cannot contact their riders, right? Like personal number after the ride. They don't let you do that. And same thing with riders. The riders can't, well, I don't know actually. I actually did leave my phone in an Uber car and I never got it back. I tried and tried and tried and never got a hold of anyone. And luckily I did have insurance on it, so I just had to pay $100 to get a new phone. So it was fine. But like if I didn't have insurance on the thing, that would have been like it was like just when the iPhone 7 came out, I got a brand new one, and a week later I left in an Uber car. Yeah, I was intoxicated in the back of a car. I left it there. I didn't realize till the morning, right? By that time the driver was probably already in Idaho. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just saying a lot of times riders will leave something in the car and then they'll since there's hardly any way to get in contact with the driver, they'll just make up some story about, oh, my driver's asked for my phone and he took it, and then I left without remembering it, so the driver stole it from me. I don't know. People make stuff up. These are the 20 false reports that Uber and Lyft riders leave. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you have any other false reports that you've heard of, please leave them down below, and then also leave any false reports you might have received as a driver, or any bad experiences. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much for watching today's video, guys. You guys are the best. This has been another episode of the Rideshare Hub. Bye, guys.